let's go to this. So this is an hour long of a insane rant that he went on. This is a couple weeks ago, I think. I think it was 2 weeks ago. This was. So I'm gonna start playing it, and hopefully we can get through it the whole way without me pausing it too often. But yeah, another insane rant from the insane man himself, right? You know, it is what it is. Let's get started.
Army
It's the hate army, bro.
Hate army.
Shout out to Cade.
Good vibes to the
Shout out to
army.
Hate.
Shout out to Hate.
Shout out to Hate.
Shout out for hate.
Woo, woo, woo. Dong, 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 dong. Dong, 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 dong. Woo, 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 woo. Now, what I wanted to talk
What the fuck
about
was that?
is Fight Cade. Okay? Fight Cade. Boy, let me tell you guys something. This starts all
Or
the way
let
back
me
in the
tell y'all
mid-2000s.
a story
In the mid-2000s,
about a man and his gout.
GGPO netcode was released. Now, this netcode was basically something to work with already existing emulators. People were already playing fighting games online in the mid-2000s.
We got siege mode going with arms crossed and everything.
But it was all lag-based netcode, which is really called delay-based netcode. What that means is when there is an issue with the latency or whatever, the game will slow down and start to play in slow-mo.
In slow motion.
That way you can try to catch up with the things that it's having an issue with the latency. All right? With the GGPO netcode, it does the opposite. The game keeps running at the same speed, and it uses a predictability factor to kind of guess what exactly it is that's being input, and then it tries to rectify that after the fact. So if you're playing in a bad connection on a rollback netcode, which was originally called GGPO netcode, what'll happen is you'll see something happen on screen, but then if it was wrong, it'll reverse what happened on screen, take it back, and then show another outcome. Or in the worst case scenario, it'll take it back and just fast forward, and then something happened you never even got to see. And I remember,
like, why would anyone
when
actually believe anything he has to say though?
And,
like,
you know, we were asked to test
he
it out. The
doesn't
FCC was
live
outright
in
asked,
normal
"Hey, everyone, test this
reality.
out and give us feedback
Everything
on
that
it."
he witnesses
And I
is
played on it, and I was
tinged
like, wow,
and
it definitely
biased
feels smoother than the
because he never did
delay-based
anything
netcode.
wrong, right?
But dude, you would be teleporting. You would be going all over the place. And then even when you were playing a match that looked good, like,
or maybe you just are not putting the inputs in right, Phil.
Sometimes your move just would outright not come out. Walk forward, punch, literally nothing. Just walk forward, no input. Huh? Where did my input go?
What?
And this would happen a lot. It wasn't like, oh, rarely, probably several times a match. And in a fighting game, you can't afford to have move just be eaten and dropped and not come out.
You can't afford that, dude.
Games, especially, you know, you were talking mid-2000s. We're not talking modern fighting games. But back then, every move counted. Imagine playing Super Turbo. And it's the critical moment, and you press the button, and absolutely nothing happens. And the opponent now hits you with a giant counter. Game over.
It's kind of what happens when you play fighting games, though, Phil.
Oh, just doesn't block once.
You push the wrong button and nothing happens, right? Like, that's kind of what happens with him.
Right? And that's how it was. So it was shocking for me because I was like, wow, so this GGPO netcode, which is, again, what it was called back then. It wasn't called rollback netcode yet. It makes the game look better.
His nemesis.
To me. It looks smoother. It
looks smoother, crisper.
The actual experience of playing it is not satisfactory. Number one, when there is a lot
you're
of
not satisfactory. Your content is not satisfactory.
And then when you have a match when that isn't happening, sometimes your moves just get eaten up. And it was frustrating. And, you know, I even confronted the maker of the code and said, you know, is this true? And yeah, everything you're saying is true. Okay, well then why is it that when I posted my criticisms of this netcode on your website, shoryuken.com, you removed the post and you suspended me? Oh, because we're trying to sell this netcode to Capcom and other companies, so we can't have people saying negative things about it. So all the posts that kiss the netcode's butt saying, wow, this is so much better than delay-based, it looks better, were allowed to be posted. My post, which was honest criticism, was removed and I was punished. Okay? That was 20 years ago. All right? Since then, obviously a lot has changed. Okay? And in reality, everyone has these different skewed histories of Street Fighter, depending on who you were friends with and who you knew and where you lived. And my history of Street Fighter is just very different than everyone else's, because I lived on the East Coast. I wasn't friendly with the people who ran Shoryuken.com and the people who ran Evo. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. I was kind of at odds with them a lot because I felt that they had a lot of things that they were running that weren't very kosher, a lot of very questionable practices at their tournaments. And
sure there was. I'm sure there was so many. Why didn't you speak up at the time then if that was the case?
The reason we're talking about this is because this all ties into Fight Cade, okay? If you don't know, Fight Cade, all right? And by the way, Jughead Jones, you're absolutely wrong. The posts are not archived there because they were deleted from the site. What you're talking about are unrelated posts, not to the subject, so get banned, you fuckface. Because everything I'm talking about was in IRC chats and shit. These conversations I had, they can't be archived from SRK, you dunce. Fucking moron Detractor in my chat, trying to hide out, pretending like he's not. I love it. Oh, everything Phil ever said has been archived. Wrong. Wrong. All the deleted posts are gone. So you would never find
you can still get it. You can still get access to those,
Phil.
Bill.
The ones you see were the ones that were allowed to be posted.
They're still available. You can get those.
What they allowed to be on the site. And no, the private conversations that I had with the people behind the scenes are not archived. You're a moron. Fuck off. Okay.
Just fuck off, dude. I don't know.
Let's get back to modern day now. Fight Cade is an emulation suite program, or whatever you call it.
Oh, boy.
And it runs on GGPO netcode.
And emulation is bad, okay, guys? Never steal
I'm absolutely sure it's better than the original version that I played in the early to mid 2000s when it was first made available to everyone in the fighting game community. So make no mistakes, I'm sure today's experience is probably a lot better. 20 years to hash out the wrinkles or iron out the wrinkles, I should say.
Wrinkles.
Probably it's going to be better, okay? Also, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. They're giving it away. That's pretty cool. All right. Now here's the thing. 10 years ago, I started playing old school fighters on console, and people started giving me crap. Why are you playing Third Strike Online Edition? Why are you playing the Marvel Versus collection? I forgot what it was called, but whatever that collection was called.
You played the game for how long, and
then
now you forget what it's called?
We had the Capcom Classics collection, which I played for a good 3 to 4 years, which I really shouldn't have done because it ran.
I shouldn't have done that, but I still did it anyway because
trolling was rampant.
I'm lazy.
In addition, there was the Ultra Street Fighter 2 game on the Switch, and that was a piece of dog shit.
Well, it is on the Switch.
That were broken and way overpowered compared to the rest of the cast. They weren't meant to be played competitively.
Sorry, guys, this will be a little bit of a slow burn.
And then
until he starts really ranting.
Was the Capcom Fighting Collection, which featured classic games paired in with Darkstalkers and stuff.
But from what I remember of this whole rant, it does get pretty good. It just starts slow.
And literally no ease of use when it came to finding people online. So imagine there's 4
it's like a fine wine. You got to really enjoy it.
You're trying to play them online, but everyone's in a different one. You can't even find them. So because of that, everyone would try to play and never find matches, or it would take forever. So they really screwed it up, all right? Like these last 10 years that there's been attempts to make classic fighting games be on console really have been just a big botch job after botch job.
So why don't you play the new one then, Phil? Why weren't you playing
being that I was a console gamer,
Street Fighter 5 at the time?
Would say, man, Phil, you're really missing out. Everyone who plays retro fighting games plays them on Fightcade on PC. Literally, there's an entire enthusiast community of people playing retro games on PC, and you're never part of it, which sucks because we can see you're good at old fighting games.
No one's saying this. No one is saying that.
Capacity, and you're just
he's not that good either.
Because you're playing.
He's such a pattern player.
The games. Okay.
Pattern player.
I always said, hey, listen, I don't have the viability to
listen
do
to me. Come on.
And also,
come on. Just
that a lot of
listen.
people don't realize. Okay.
I'm lazy. I don't want to figure it out.
Talk about Fightcade.
My PC sucks.
Or whatever. Who do you think is honestly playing Fightcade? Do you think that it's
actual fighting game players?
Who just, oh man, I heard that you could.
Oh, so he. Oh god. Okay, guys, I get it. He's afraid of the competition. He'd rather. This is what he's saying. He would rather play on these shittier ports. He admitted the fighting game collection is a shittier version, so he would rather play on there to keep beating up scrubs and stroking his ego than going to Fightcade where he will actually have real competition. That's what he's saying.
Let me just boot it up, you know, and play it casually, and this will be fun. I hate to tell you guys, that's not who's on there, okay? You want to know who's on there? People who likely are either old school players, who this is the only viable way for them to play these games anymore because there are no arcades to play against people anymore.
Well,
so
no
this
shit.
would be the one way to get competition in them. Or people who have come up in the community over the last 10, 20 years who necessarily weren't playing these games because they were too young back in the day, but they've grown an affinity for them. So I would bet, no exaggeration, there's probably a group of 20 to 30-year-olds, younger than me, that are super duper good at old school fighting games now, solely because they've been playing them on Fightcade for the past 15 years. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Well, there's a lot of people better than you, Phil. So that's not that.
Are people who just sit around playing on Fightcade all day.
That's not that hard to do.
But the point I'm making is these are people who never stopped playing.
God, he looks so fucking old too. Like Jesus Christ. And it's not just the gray beard.
All right, to step into the
it's
realm
not just
of
his
Fightcade,
gray beard that makes him look old. It's just
playing
his face in general. He's aging terribly.
At a sport, trying to now go play against pro players, right? Like that's literally the situation. So even
it's literally the situation.
I jumped into Fightcade, you're probably talking like I'm going to get nonstop manhandled and spanked by people who've been playing these games crazy high level for years.
Like, see, so he's right away admitting that he's sucks at the game and he can't handle actual competition. Gotcha.
Is X-Men versus Street Fighter. This was the game that put the versus games on the map. Before that, there was games such as X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, and this is what started the Marvel licensing with Capcom fighting games, the super jumps, the cartoony look. But it was X-Men versus Street Fighter that had the first versus, the 2v2 gameplay, where you could tag in and out and do double teams and do great giant flashy super moves. This was the first game that was super appealing to the eye to watch, not just fun to play. This is what started the big competitive fighting game movement, where people wanted to go to tournaments and watch players because the game was it was like a giant, awesome comic book on the screen, right? So this game is ultra fun. Every character in the game is broken. No exaggeration. Literally every character in X-Men vs. Street Fighter has like an infinite combo that can be done ad nauseum, and you just win when you start landing it. It's crazy broken, okay? At the same time, sadly, the game is broken because of it. So if you don't know those strategies and combos, you basically don't have a chance, all right? Now, I knew those strategies and combos 20 years ago, but I haven't played the game in so long, it probably would take me a while to get back into the swing of things and start to remember. Now imagine I go to play it on Fightcade, and the first match is against someone who's literally played the game since the 1990s, has never stopped playing, plays the game regularly online, and instantly just infinites me, and that's the end. It's like, I get the feeling that's Fightcade. Like, in a nutshell, that's Fightcade. People who are the biggest fans and hardcore players of these games, and this is the only way you can consistently get good matches. So this is just what they've been doing nonstop. Again, these are probably the people keeping this alive. When you know, what do they call it, like the enthusiast community? It's not necessarily a pro circuit for these older games anymore, but they keep it alive via playing on Fightcade, and then they hold their own tournaments as side events during big tournaments, right? So I almost guarantee you that's literally what's going to happen. Now, there's some other issues as well. When you play on PC, you may not be aware of this, cheating is absolutely rampant. I mean,
okay, yeah, they're all cheating because they're on PC, right? I forgot about that.
So they don't have to do shit. They're going to have one-button Shoryukens. They're going to have one-button combos and super, all, you know, fucking mash up. They're gonna have infinite turbo mode. Hold down the button and it's gonna go kick, 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 faster than a human can tap the button. It's just a rampant thing that you can't stop. It's going to happen when you're playing on PC, on a thing that's free, that has no rules essentially, right? So
no rules.
It's gonna be pretty ridiculous. I'm guaranteeing you, you know, to get on Fightcade and play these people is literally going to be like a laughable, hilarious experience. The first thing I'm gonna do is just kind of mess around and not take it seriously. Because I feel like if I jump in and I start taking it ultra seriously from the get-go, I'm just going to get pissed. Because you're going to see the most ludicrous things, right? Like, I predict I'm going to pick Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and the first fight will be against a June, and the June will be perfect.
A June?
He'll be able to do, excuse me, not a June, a Yoon. And he's going to do
Yoon or June?
Into super, into the big combo, into the super, into the big combo, into the super, into the big combo, into the super. Which is very tough to do offline, but he'll be doing it perfectly online. Because they've probably been doing it for 30 years, right? And I'm like, now what the fuck? I guarantee it. I really don't think, for example, when I play these games on console, a lot of the times, the vast majority of people I'm playing aren't great because they're just casual people who are interested in retro fighting games. They buy it on their Xbox, they buy it on their PlayStation, they pop it in and they play it, and you get some comp, but it's not necessarily high-level comp, but it's good because you can mess around. You know, I can mess around with my Urian, I could pick around with Hugo, characters who aren't, you know, tournament viable for me, but I can at least mess around with them. I'm gonna get on Fightcade, and it's gonna go like this, just immediate spanking by every person that plays me.
Yeah,
And I
because
know,
you
like, I'm
actually
already
suck,
expecting that. I
Phil.
would be shocked if I play Fightcade and I fight people of like average skill level and I can actually hang with them. I'd be like blown away if that happened.
So
okay?
he's admitting that he can't even fight against people of average skill level because he's so bad at it. He admits that the only reason he wins when he does win is because he's fighting scrubs. He's afraid of the competition.
And then number 2 on top of it, again, I just want to point out the fact, since this is a PC client, I guarantee you this is going to be a way for rampant cheating. Or, excuse me, not rampant cheating, rampant trolling is what I meant to say. For example, I'm already
the
being told,
trolls.
oh yeah, with Fightcade, there's
I
no
can't
way to
do
stop
anything
because
the
awful
trolls.
things, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh yeah, in Fightcade, people can just non-stop spam invites on you to play you, so you have to immediately turn it off, because if you don't, immediately, they're just going to just constantly spam, and you'll never be able to use the dang thing. It's just constant pop-ups or things in your face that'll bother you. Like, really? Okay, that doesn't sound very good. Now, I have a legit question for everyone. I don't know how many of you have ever used Fightcade.
Super legit,
okay?
bro.
What about your IP address? That's actually a major concern for me. Like, I can't have my IP address getting leaked and having more people try to DDoS attack me or DDoS me or whatever the fuck it's called. Okay? And I have a new IP. I've had a new IP for months. So, I need to find out that using this Fightcade is going to protect my IP address. I can't have it that people are going to have a way to discern my IP using this client. What's hilarious is people have asked me to use it for 10 years. Not a single person has brought up this thing, this point about IP addresses. Okay? So, I need to know tonight, when we're doing a live setup of this, how it works, how to prevent the trolling. Before I boot a single match, I need to have this set up so we're not going to have...
Is this game troll-proof for me? Every game has to
with people inviting spam,
confine and contort itself to fit my personal unique circumstance.
Before I fuck around with this thing.
Otherwise, it's a shitty game.
It's not,
why don't they have that already?
No one cares, so I can just download it and use it. No, you know that I'm a target. So everyone who's asked me for 10 years to use...
And that's your fault that you're a target. No one else's.
Because, yeah, it's a major concern for me that something like this could happen. Okay? I hope it doesn't. I hope legit this is not an issue. And that we will get it working. So, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. How do I fix this, or how do I make it so that's not going to be a concern? Right? I don't know. Does anyone even know? You can block in-game chat and all that stuff. Well, that's what I need to do. Well, I guess what people were saying is that when you first boot it up, everything's on, obviously, but then you could turn off the ability for someone to send you an invite. The problem is that means that I have to always go to other people and invite them to matches. There is no matchmaking in this. It's just going to be a listing of people who want to play, and then you have to pick who you want to play, and they have to accept, and then you play, right? So, I don't know. We have to see how it works. And if it doesn't work, if it ends up being a fucking mess, then I guess it's a fucking mess, and we just don't do it. And for those...
Guess what? He didn't do
what
it.
What are you talking about? How am I going to do that? Literally, the issues cannot be figured out until we're doing it live, right? Like, if I play it offline, no one will know I'm doing it offline. So how would I know how I'm going to handle trolling? It would be the moment I turn it online that people start trolling me that we could figure out the fixes. Not offline. It doesn't even make sense. The same thing people say about, oh, well, why weren't you ready for this when you did your multiplayer session? Because I wasn't fucking playing on stream. So I didn't have anyone trying to troll me. How could I have prepared for it when I didn't know how it was going to work? How would we have known that in Street Fighter 6 there's constant invite pop-ups? How would you know that unless you were playing it? And
what's with the real creepy guy in
is it people just think the world is fucking perfect?
Doctor's mask back there.
Prevented or planned for, or no, it's
what are those?
That's not reality.
Play Doctor's mask.
You probably live an insanely insulated fucking life.
I guess.
Your mom probably
Hate Army.
So you don't realize
really likes Bloodborne
on the flop.
Oh yes, of course. That's it.
Ridiculous, over the top nonsense.
You gotta live in your parents' basement, dude.
Like, no,
if you're doing this thing that I don't like.
If you think that, okay.
Oh, hey GDX, how you doing?
So, here's the thing. I want to play Fightcade.
Oh, the camera's on the whole time, huh?
All right, but I have to get it working properly, and it's going to take time.
I just saw your message. I'm sorry.
And we have 5 minutes, and now it's working. I get the feeling it's going to be a rough setup.
I was looking at the other screen. I have 2 screens, dude. I'm a professional.
But I'm pretty sure I already installed it last year. I just have to figure that out for myself, like how far I got.
So we installed it a year ago, and he never bothered to play it.
An account, and then I have to figure it out, like how do you set it up so you don't...
I'm not ignoring anyone.
How do you get the chat off the screen so that people aren't saying gross stuff that everyone can see on the stream, right? And then also the other...
I didn't want to get trolled, dude.
I can use it by sitting here, because right now... right now...
You have made me very angry.
like way over there. So I can't reach them. I'd have to figure out how to get stuff to reach over here.
Dragon's rule anyway, so it's all good.
Reach. But I don't know about the keyboard. Plus, do I need the keyboard? Once I map everything out to the joystick, because my joystick does work on a PC, is that fine? Or am I always going to need this fucking keyboard for something? Or will the mouse do everything? Right? Like, I don't know. See, now, we got someone in chat. Every time you play a match, someone has your IP. Guys, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that on Fightcade?
Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that's the case? 5 seconds later, oh, that's the case? Well, that's fucking stupid. Like, he's so condescending to someone who turned out to actually be telling the truth. Because that person was telling the truth. And he's treating him like that.
Get your IP address.
When he was telling the fucking truth in the first place.
Immediately doxed your IP address.
I have your address. I have your name. You really fucked up.
Seriously. Don't you think that would be a slight liability for the people who made it? And for
yeah, those fuckers who made it, man. What the fuck?
Right? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. People are just, I don't know. People are just crazy, right?
Staring at the chat.
So I don't know. I know everyone's like VPN. That doesn't work. When you do a VPN, it adds lag. What are you talking? Boy, you
no, it doesn't.
Works, do you?
You can do a VPN from any city. You don't have to do a VPN from a totally different country. You can do a VPN from the next city next to you, and it'll work just fine and not add any lag. He is the one who doesn't understand what a VPN is. It's like, oh, if I pick a VPN, I have to pick a country from like the other side of the world or something, and it's gonna add so much lag. I'm like, no, you don't have to add a VPN from that far away, dumbass. You can pick what city and stuff you want.
That's not how VPNs work, genius. VPNs reroute you through another location of the planet, adding insane amounts of lag.
No,
then
it does not.
Online game? Are you stupid? Boy. Bjorn Turok, I don't know what you're talking about. I've had 0 problems on stream today. 0. The stream is a nice connection. No issues. So if you're having issues, it's your ISP or your connection. Everything is fine. I don't know what you're talking about there. So anyway, I don't know. This was this Bono Techno says the chat client does not have your IP address. Others cannot find it through the chat client. The lobby only knows your country, but when you play a game, they get your IP address. What? You know? Okay. All right. This is so ridiculous. Do you not understand the legal liability that a company would have if every time that you used something, it gave away your IP address? Right? Do you not understand that? So either you're telling me that people just don't care and they're so idiotically stupid that they would actively use this fighting game client to play the game and literally open themselves up to doxing and DDoS attacks and trolling. And this has been like this for 15 years.
Yep, and no one's had a problem with it except for you, Phil.
Which is it? Do we have a ginormous legal liability, in which case someone could sue the fuck out of the company that made Fightcade because they're constantly giving away people's IP addresses without telling them? Or are you wrong?
Or
which is it? I'd like to know. I'd like the honest answer.
No, he was right, actually.
And then this company will just get sued. This is literally like playing a peer-to-peer game via an emulator. This is how it works. I play this with the Tecmo community. So seriously, how would anyone who is a known player who streams, okay, how would you use it? So you tell me I can't use it. You tell me I can't use Fightcade.
Most people use a VPN, dumbass.
One troll, right, to join a match to play me, and they have my IP address. And then they're just going to fucking post it all over the internet, and then the people are going to DDoS attack me constantly. Yeah, I don't know. This is 10 years of people telling me to play on Fightcade. And now, the day when I'm going to do it, now you people come chat.
Here comes the salt.
You waited this long to tell me.
You waited this long.
I could grab you off any game. If they did, they would have fucking doxed me 5 zillion times over the years, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's just stupidity saying that.
It's stupidity.
I just want you guys to put yourself into my situation. Really. Just do this for a second.
Really?
Right? And I want you
no, I'd rather not be in your situation, sir.
And they hold you accountable and they treat me like shit. And I just want you to listen to me for a second rationally. Okay?
Okay.
For over 10 years, I've exclusively played fighting games on console. Right? Exclusively.
Right.
And every time that I've done this, I've never had an issue with any kind of security whatsoever because consoles secure.
I mean, you don't know that. Like, you have had DDoS attacks. They did find your IP address before. Who's to say they didn't find your IP address from playing you in Street Fighter 4 or whenever the fuck that DDoS attack happened. You don't know how they got a hold of your DDoS. You don't know how they got a hold of your IP address at the time, sir. So you don't know.
No one's gonna get your IP address from playing a fighting game on a console ever, right?
You don't know that.
I've had to put up with lag and inferior versions of
lag,
right? I have.
Well, that's a trade-off you have to do for being a douchebag, I guess.
Classic fighting games are not up to snuff with the real versions.
Oh, not up to snuff, my ass.
Like I said, with the Capcom Classics collection, literally no moderation options whatsoever. Okay? So, pretty bad, right? In that regard, you get the inferior version, but at least you're safe, correct? Excuse me. So, it's been 10 years. Everyone yelled at me, I'm doing the wrong thing.
And, another thing is that, obviously, he went back to Street Fighter 6. And he was going to go back to Street Fighter 6 anyway when Akuma came out. I mean, I don't think he's out now, but he's coming out soon. So he's going to go back to Street Fighter 6. What was he going to do? Play one day out of the week for Street Fighter 6 and the next day and, one of the other days of the week for Fight Cade? Do fighting games all the fucking week. Why not? Oversaturated RPG oversaturation and all this bullshit, but fighting game oversaturation would be fine. Jack Traxxer isn't really even tipping much anymore anyway. One Minuteman isn't tipping. That's just going from one extreme to the other extreme.
Everyone uses Fightcade. Why don't you just use Fightcade? You're such an idiot. You're such a dumbass.
Yeah, those people aren't the same people that are in your chat. You do know that, right, Phil? The people from 10+ years ago that were asking and demanding you to play Fightcade or whatever, they're not here anymore, dummy.
You're such a loser. You don't do what everyone else does. You're not playing the best players because you're not using Fightcade. You should be using Fightcade. So now here we are, 10 years later.
10 years later.
I've been waiting. I got the time set around.
I'm ready.
Right? By the way, that exposes your IP address. Oh. You had to wait 10 years to fucking tell me that?
Yep.
Seriously, now I'm fucking pissed. I'm legit and very rightly pissed.
I'm righteously pissed.
Because everyone asked me for it for 10 fucking years.
Oh,
now you're going to tell me, your IP address gets exposed.
Not that big a deal. It's fine.
It gets to the point where when people ask for shit and they start to unfairly treat me away, I'm just going to tell them, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear you bitching. Because that's where the point
is that what's going to happen?
People screaming so loudly that I'm doing it wrong, when in reality, I've always been doing it right, because there's no way
right is subjective here,
gives away
sir.
Your IP address. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired that because I'm darksydephil, I'm the brunt of the abuse. I get the one that gets yelled at and called names and treated poorly because I'm darksydephil. That's really the only reason, right? If I was anyone else, it would have been like, all right, well, you're a streamer, Fightcade's the best, but, for me, it's like, no, fuck you, Phil, you piece of shit. Right?
Yeah, because you brought that on yourself. You are living the consequences of your own actions, sir. If you weren't the asshole that you were before and are now, then you wouldn't be in the situation that you are in now, sir. It's not just, because you happen to be Phil Burnell that you have all this hate against you. No, it is warranted hate against you for all the shitty things that you continue to do to this day. If you were a horrible person and did all these shitty things in the past and you actually changed for the better, you would not have nearly as many detractors still making fun of you to this day as you do right now. But because you never change, he loves to pretend that he's changed, of course. I changed, I did this, and I don't do this, and bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And there's 1,000,001 examples of current day Phil, of him still being an asshole, still doing all this insane shit.
Doing it wrong for 10 years. Why don't you just listen to us?
Why don't you listen to me?
I'm listening to you now. Let's do it. Oh, wait, actually, your IP just gets exposed.
Yeah, and typical DSP. I'm listening to you now, 10 years later, as he's talking to a person that's not even there anymore, because the people who were asking him to do this have moved on, have left. Your fans have not just been around for the whole 10, 15 years and never left, Phil. Your fans currently are probably a lot newer than that.
Never done this to begin with.
You're bitching at people who aren't there anymore.
How? if it gives away your IP address as people are suggesting in the chat? How? Player Essence, please, please, please kiss my fucking ass and enjoy your permanent ban, you dumb piece of fucking shit. Seriously, fuck off.
Fuck off, you piece
Asshole.
of shit. Oh yeah, he's an asshole, right? Yeah. Isn't
Why are
our
you so angry?
so?
Because if you
Why are
were
you
told
so
for 10
mad?
years that you're doing something wrong, for 10 years, you were told you're the one who's doing everything incorrectly. Why?
And again, he is bitching at his current fans for things that his old fans used to do or ask him for, and his old fans are no longer there. So you're bitching at the wrong people.
Why don't you just listen to reason? And then the day you're actually going to make amends and change and try to do the thing that people have said this is the right thing to do, you get told, oh no, you can't do it anyway. How would you feel? It doesn't even matter that's Fightcade. This could have been anything, right?
Right? No, wrong.
I don't know, you know? No, you see, Fightcade is something that the FGC is heavily into and has been. So if you're in the FGC, you probably know about Fightcade.
The FGC won't let me be, let me be me, so let me read.
It's not something that they're trying to get tons of people to use or anything like that, right?
Got to be me, says the piggy.
So now I don't know what to do. You tell me. What am I supposed to do, right?
Right? Go rope. You could do that.
I'll sit here tonight, and I'll just fucking sit back like this. I'll just be like, hey, I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah, it's basically that's basically what you have been doing lately, though, sir. You've just been like, oh, I don't feel like playing a game tonight, so we're just gonna have another boring ass Q&A segment where I ask people ask me the same fucking questions they've always asked me. I'm like, how is that fucking fun? How is that entertaining for anyone, Phil? Huh? It's not.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous at this point. It really is. At this point, I'm just so flabbergasted.
Ridiculous.
I'm just so resigned. It gets to the point where, like, you get, what is the word? Like, you get desensitized. Like, I shouldn't be upset. I shouldn't be surprised that for 10 years, people gave me misinformation and yelled at me for that misinformation and acted like I was a villain or stupid or whatever. Doing
you are.
Thing. You know.
You fucking are.
I shouldn't expect to be treated with respect. I guess that's actually the best way to put
You
it.
have to earn respect. Respect is never automatically just given to people. Some people give other people the benefit of the doubt, but everyone knows who you are. There is no reason to respect you. You haven't earned respect. You haven't given people any reason to give you respect. When you piss on them, you bite the hand that feeds you all the time, you shit on your own fans, and God forbid they ask the wrong question, even innocently enough, and you'll go and randomly ban them. Why should anyone give you respect, sir? You're not worthy of it.
I should not expect to be treated with any kind of respect.
You're right, you shouldn't.
9 times out of 10, they're fucking.
Because you don't give people a reason to.
Any criticism of me actually isn't valid. It's just people.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Because he's not treated with respect, all the criticism against him does not count at all. Because we're not respectful enough to him. Does that make any sense either? No, it doesn't.
For the sake of making fun of me, right? I thought this was legit. I thought it's like, oh, people really haven't. Phil's been really missing out on playing old school fighters.
You have been, but
he's really been missing out because he just doesn't listen, because he's stubborn, he's obstinate. And so after all these years, I get to a point where...
And then here comes the conspiracy theory.
I have a situation where I have a PC that I can play Fightcade. Let's do it. I'm excited to do it. We have the time to do it.
It only took... Think about that. It only took him, what, 10 years to get a somewhat decent PC, which is a mini PC, but still, it only took him 10 years to get a somewhat decent PC in order for him to play old school 2D fighting games in a Fightcade. How insane is that? That it took him 10 years to update his PC, which he still hasn't done, but it took him 10 years to get a hold of a decent enough PC to fucking play a 2D fucking game.
To do it.
That is crazy.
I want to do it. And then the morning before I'm going to do it, you tell me it gives away my IP address. It only took 10 fucking years. Wow. Horny Gordon Rule says Fightcade doesn't openly display your IP. It's still accessible during gameplay due to peer-to-peer nature like Call of Duty. So explain this to me. How does anyone ever stream Call of Duty? Because don't you think there's malicious parties who would get someone's IP address who's a streamer and DDoS attack them or post it all over the internet? So how is it possible that people play Call of Duty? How is it possible that Avoid the Puddle plays on Fightcade and doesn't get his IP address doxed? How is this possible?
He probably uses a VPN.
No, not a VPN, you incredible dunce. Stop saying VPN.
Oh, okay, sorry, my bad.
Wow, that is a stupid answer.
You don't understand anything about actual VPN, sir. And second of all, guess what, Phil? You can play a game online and not actually use your fucking name. I know for a narcissist piece of shit like you, that is an insane ideal, right? But you can actually pick a random ass different name to use for your online game that doesn't actually have DSP or darksydephil in the title, and no one will know it's you. You dumb shit. But no, Mr. Narcissist over here has to name every fucking account, every fucking game, every character that he's in, either darksydephil or they call me DSP or blah blah blah, and that's how he got in trouble and we found out about his WWE Champions account, was because he was so narcissistic he has to put DSP in every fucking account name out there. So he can't just play Fightcade with a random Joe Schmaloney name on there. No. He has to have DSP darksydephil on that account name. He can't just make up a fucking name and go undercover and then no one will know it's him. No. He has to have his name on it. Because that's the major draw. Everyone needs to know who beat their ass, is that it's Phil Burnell kicked their ass in this game. Not random username 01526. No.
The very nature of the fact that you
talk about ego, man.
It's hilarious to say that in a chat, that you think that you want to add latency by using a VPN.
It doesn't.
In online play. That is incredibly stupid, what you're saying. Well, I guess it's a shot then. I guess we're just not doing it. You know?
Darn.
I guess we're not doing it. What a waste of time this whole thing has been. Seriously. What a hilarious waste of time this discussion has been all these years that people have yelled at me to play Fightcade. Because I'm being told, like legit, someone who's trying to help in chat says, this is why in things like Fightcade it's considered friend groups or friend lobbies, people you trust playing against each other.
And
that
we all
way,
know Phil doesn't have any actual friends or
anything
either, so
that's what they're saying.
that goes out the
Friends
window.
only. Well, then I can never use Fightcade ever. Not a single fucking time.
Admitting he doesn't have
Fightcade,
friends
right?
again.
So I'm done. That's it.
I'm done.
Fightcade is off the table.
No
Now we have
friends
to change the
whatsoever
schedule
for
the next 2
me,
nights
so I can't play
because I
this
cannot
game,
play
sir.
this program. Even though people have demanded that I use it for a decade. Outright
I
told me
demanded.
I'm an idiotic moron buffoon
We
for playing
need
console
to
versions of
do
fighting games
this
when
thing.
Fightcade exists. And, you know, I mean, literally, outright been insulted as if I'm just fucking stupid as shit.
You are!
Because I've been playing on
You
console.
are, sir.
But now I find out, actually, I was in the right all along. Right? Like, wow. That's tremendous.
Wow, dude. What the
That's
fuck?
absolutely tremendous.
Why are you so mad?
And again, guys, I was 100% gung-ho. I was going to do this tonight. 100%. I was in line to play tonight with all of you.
Man, we really missed out on some amazing
like everybody else is.
possible gameplay there,
Because I'm
man.
Darksydephil, and everyone just wants to fuck
and
out
you're a
shit on me
douche.
constantly, right?
Douche.
All right, so unless anyone can prove differently, I guess it's off the table. We're not doing Fightcade. It's done. You know, I'm
Darn.
do anything early because again, everyone's saying, "Oh, just do it early, set it up early." Imagine if I did, and then it gets canceled after all that work. Fuck that.
That would have been hilarious, though. That would have been
Google
good.
Search wouldn't have done any of this because you need to.
Yes,
hear
it would have.
People who use
Oh
it
my
to truly
gosh.
understand anything. Google searches are pretty fucking worthless.
No, they're not. You could
Right now,
actually
Google
find
search will
out
tell you
pretty
there's fucking
easily by
aliens on
Google
Earth and all kinds of
searching,
weird shit. You know
dummy.
what you're talking about. You
Oh
need to
my
actually talk to
gosh.
people who actively use the technology regularly to really understand it. So, yeah, I have no idea what we're doing tonight. Right? I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have a random stream where I'm just coming on stream and doing whatever. Whether it's no gameplay and we just fuck around. You know, we could
Like
do a Game Pass night,
usual.
which originally is what we were talking about doing, is just exploring Game Pass.
But no, we won't do
seeing
that
if
because
there's
that
anything
takes
we're interested
work.
in.
So instead, he's just going to sit there and
According to
have
the
people
rules,
ask
you have
him
no
questions.
idea the implications of what you're saying. They're like, you know, it just, that person, what they're saying, it doesn't happen that often. You should just do it anyway. You should just stream Fightcade and see what happens. Yes, because if my IP address gets doxxed, right, totally I'll just be able to easily stream every day, and it won't affect my business in a negative way or anything, right? I won't be able to not make money.
Oh, you
'cause I can't
greedy.
work.
It all
What are you
comes down to
talking about?
money.
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
All comes down to
Well,
cash.
I'm
The
definitely titling
cashola.
this podcast the Fight Cade Disaster episode for sure. I can't imagine. I mean, thank God we had this.
Man, he
conversation.
should have called it like the fight Cade that didn't happen or something like that. You know, come on, you got to make it a little catchy.
Because
The
if
fight
we
Cade that
I
never
mean, that would have
was.
been really, really bad, right? Like it would have been. It just would have been terrible. So obviously, I'm very happy that it didn't come to that. and that
No
we
one
basically dodged
cares.
yet another bullet, right?
Oh,
Oh
Phil
my God.
survives another
All right, no Fight
day.
Cade tonight. I guess we'll either just have a hangout session or we'll maybe do some Game Pass exploration or something like that. And then I guess tomorrow night we're either going to be doing like Street Fighter or Helldivers or something. There you go. Well, thanks for at least for being honest on the stream chat. Those who tried to help, I really do appreciate that. And thank you for understanding.
Thanks
that I
those
just can't take the
you
liability of my entire
assholes who
business
I
shut
called you
down
assholes
because of
for
this. That was
lying
really
when you
fucking
weren't
stupid,
actually lying.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's get the shout outs. Holy shit. What a podcast this has been.
Only Iced Coffee, thanks for 35 months of support.
Jordan, another super chat. So what games were you going to try to play on Fightcade? I was going to try to play
Thanks,
all
OIC.
all the classic fighters that I liked from back in the day. Super Turbo, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, the Alpha games, you know, Darkstalkers, just to name a few. All the games from my youth from the 90s that I loved, that I played in arcade. Right?
From my youth.
Easy Steve did a super chat. Says time to play whatever you want. Yeah, I guess so. Time to do whatever I want tonight. Says obviously Fightcade's not possible. And Jordan did another super chat. Are there any other ways to try to play the game on Fightcade or another service? There are no other services that basically are better than Fightcade. They're all the same, I'm assuming. I'm clueless about this. Sorry if there isn't. Yeah,
I'm assuming. I don't know. I'll just assume.
VPNs. For those who don't know, do you know what a VPN is?
You don't,
Right?
clearly.
In a nutshell, what a VPN does, it routes your internet connection through another location on the planet so that it looks like you're located there. All right. Primarily, VPNs are used to disguise your identity or to unlock content that's region locked. So, for example, let's say you had Netflix. Well, in the United States, only certain stuff is available on Netflix. But if you were to say, oh, I'm from Norway, well, then other content would actually be unlocked on Netflix. And you could do this to change your location, geolocation in the world using a VPN and make it look like you're somewhere else. And so that you can get other content. That's primarily why people use VPNs. But VPNs can be used to make it look like you are somewhere else. And obviously that protects your identity. But the problem is, and this is what people are not saying, when you use a VPN, it adds lag because your connection has to ping through that other location first before it then goes to where the destination is. So imagine I'm trying to play someone over Fightcade who's located in California. If I just go direct to them, it's a connection from California to Washington State, which are just pretty close to each other in the United States. But if I'm using a VPN that says I live in Norway,
But you don't
my
have to
connection is
pick it
going
in
from
Norway,
Washington
dummy.
across the planet to Norway and then to California. And then the inputs there are going from California to Norway to Washington State. You're adding dramatic amounts of lag to the situation, in which case it just becomes not viable. There's no point to doing it. Do you see? Okay. Now, just a reminder that we have all new animations on the chat for any super chat up to $5. You've seen that a few times already here today, which is the Zangief one. But then we have 4 more new animations, each for a $10, $20, $30, and $50 tip. And they're all funny, very funny, whatchamacallit, Street Fighter animations, okay? So I hope that you'll enjoy them, but we do need to get contributions of that size. Let's start with our tip shout-outs today. The first tip of the day is a $1.69 tip. Everything public on SRK and Alphaism, I don't even know what Alphaism is
You were on it. It was a
that man.
It was a radio talk show and you were on it, dumbass.
You're talking about things that were public when SRK went down. Wrong. When SRK went down, when they took it offline, okay, it didn't have all the posts. I'm telling you, like, I had entire threads and things in there that were removed. Now, a lot of them were because I was an asshole troll, right? And I've admitted that back in the day, I was a pretty bad troll, right? And I've already owned up to that and said, man, I wish I didn't do that because now that I'm older and wiser, I absolutely know that
you're not old. Well, you're not wiser. You're definitely older, but you're not any wiser.
There's a lot of underhanded stuff that was going on in the community back in the day. Okay, so you're wrong. No, there was not a full archive of the stuff that went down on SRK. I wish there was, because then I could actually prove that I was pointing out flaws in the netcode and that it was deleted, right?
So,
you'll never find
so the whole thing with Phil is that he's a contrarian, right? He's a fucking contrarian. And it's not that he was right the whole time or anything like that. He just never liked to agree with what everyone else was agreeing with. So he would always do the opposite. When everyone was like, oh, everyone was saying, oh, they really like this game, they really like that game, or oh, this is a great idea, he would do the opposite to be a contrarian douchebag to try to get attention. So he would be like, actually, it's not really all that good. Rollback netcode sucks. Don't you know? Like, it's just awful. So it's like, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, he wasn't right the whole time. He just possibly happened to maybe arguably be on the right side only because he was being a contrarian for contrarian's sake.
And an archive of is the private conversations that I have with these people on IRC, which is actually where most Street Fighter discussion went down. It didn't happen on SRK. That was the public-facing post. The real shit went on behind the scenes on IRC chats. That used to happen, but those are long gone. But absolutely, these things happen. It doesn't matter what you think you found archived on the internet because a bunch of people who don't like me found negative archives.
You can go fuck yourself and kiss my ass.
Oh yeah, it's all fabricated. Yeah,
like
that's it.
You fucking buffoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Someone tipped the bucket says, well, if all the modern fighting games kind of bother you, what do you think? How do you think Fightcade would affect you? I mean, here's the thing, okay? I feel like playing the classics, at first it will be stressful. Because, like I said, there's that whole try-hard mentality of people who've never given up playing these games.
Says the try-hard.
And,
says the person who's a try-hard the whole time.
And kind of kick my ass, but at the same time, there's a feeling of competition that I would get back for those games. Like, it's the same thing with any game. When you get to that certain level, you're going to start to enjoy it more. Plus, there's something you're not understanding. Old school fighting games are not like modern fighting games, okay? In most old school fighting games, you can't just spam a pattern nonstop and get away with it. You just can't. They're not built that way. It took a lot more level of skill for execution, a lot more level of intelligence, a lot more being able to react to things, as opposed to, oh, here's a safe pattern I can do over and over. The meta of these games took so long to be discovered, and to this day, there's still things being discovered about the meta of old school fighters, as opposed to in Street Fighter 6, we knew the rushdown meta within like 4 months. And that was it. It's been the same since. It hasn't even changed, right?
I zoned out there for a second. I'm sorry. I was like, wait, what's he talking about?
Absolutely there would be.
Just kind of zoned out for a second.
But at the same time, I think I would like it more because it is the retro stuff I grew up with. And once I get back to the swing of things, I think it would be pretty enjoyable. Okay? I got a $2 tip.
Cool. I don't know.
So this person says, Fightcade does not give away your IP address. Others cannot find it through a chat client. They only have your country code. If you're that worried, get a VPN. So again, this is the discussion we just had. Literally the discussion we just had.
It doesn't ever cross his mind that he could just be wrong about something? No. He's always absolutely always right.
It doesn't give away the IP address. Why would you recommend a VPN? Right? And we just discussed why a VPN is not viable in a competitive online game in any situation.
No, you discussed it, and you're wrong about it. So
Jordan now did a $10
You're wrong.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
You're wrong.
What if you email the Fightcade support to get guaranteed confirmation if it's safe? I guess I have to look that up. I don't know. Does Fightcade actually have support? I have no clue.
I.e., please give me their email or contact information because I don't want to look into it.
And by the way, I don't fault Fightcade at all if this is the case.
Oh yeah, sure.
Address away. I mean, no one has situations like me.
I'm not faulting them. I'm faulting you guys for recommending in the first place.
There's not an email address to contact them. Nope. All they have is social media, which publicly tweeting them isn't going to help. Maybe I could find a way to contact them via their Twitter.
Are you embarrassed about publicly tweeting them, Phil?
Nope. Their DMs are off. Yeah, their DMs are off.
What an ugly motherfucker, too.
Hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I wasn't logged in. Never mind. Hold on. No. Maybe if I follow. No, you can't DM them. No DMs on Twitter. DMs are shut off. So I can't do that. That's a no-go.
Well, DMs are kind of weird on Twitter nowadays. So it's like, I don't understand. It's like, I think each person has to be following each other in order to, like, do DMs now. You can't just randomly DM someone you don't know that much or something like that. I don't know how it works. I don't know.
There's no email address. There's a Facebook. I don't use Facebook. There's no way to contact them. Nope. Unless I maybe frequently ask, maybe help.
Help.
Install ROMs launching. Nope. Nothing about contacting us whatsoever. Nope. Well, I give up. There's no way to contact them for what I.
Well, that was fast. I
just looked and I don't
give
see
up.
anything.
It's too hard.
Why would I fault Fightcade? These guys, these are fans of Street Fighter like everybody.
Why would I fault Fightcade when I could just fault you guys instead? Obviously, I'm still pissed off about it, but I'm not going to fault the actual person who made the thing. I'm going to fault you guys for fucking suggesting it again.
Okay? They want to have classic games protected for posterity purposes. They want you to be able to play these games, even though they're not really represented anymore. There's no good console versions, and you can't really play the arcade versions. All they want to do is preserve fighting games. I respect that, right? It's not their fault that I have a giant troll community of idiots who are just phoning
No, it's your
trying to
fault.
get my IP address and fuck with me. You know, there's zero fault to them. Why would I fault them? That's ridiculous. But there's no way to contact them. I just checked, and there's no way to contact them from what I can see. So, yeah, Joe Loft, don't worry, man. Some people are apologizing now. They feel bad because they're like, oh, I feel like I ruined it for you. How did you ruin it for me? No, what you did is you saved me a giant headache, is what you did. You saved me a giant problem headache, which would have been awful if I basically went through with it and then my IP address got leaked. Because here's the thing. I don't even know with my current setup if I have the ability to get a new IP address. Here's why. Previously, I had a Comcast-owned modem. And as you know, I got rid of that modem when an employee of Comcast was messing with my internet last year, and then they got fired, supposedly. And now I got my own modem. I bought my own modem, a third-party modem. Okay?
Which was stupid.
This way, at the very least, no Comcast employee can ever enter my modem and mess with its settings.
Which I still don't think happened.
Now, the problem is, and I've told you guys this before, is with a Comcast modem, when a Comcast modem goes offline and then goes back online, it does not seek out a new IP address. A Comcast modem is hard-coded to get the same IP address it already had for no reason. There's no real reason for it. That's just how it is. Ever since I lived here for 10 years, we found this out, that there's no way for me to unplug my modem, plug it back in, and get a new IP address. It keeps giving me the same IP address over and over. We had to find workarounds for that to fix it. Like, I would have a tech out here, and we'd have to plug 2 modems in at the same time, so one of them would get a new IP address, then we unplug the one with the old one, and only keep the new one, and that's how I could get a new IP address. It was the only way to do it, okay? But now I have a new modem, brand new, third party. So I don't know if that modem will do the same thing, because I still have Comcast internet, or if that new modem would actually act differently and seek out a new IP address if I were just to unplug it for a while and replug it. I'd have to test it, and I haven't tested it, because I haven't had a single problem since that Comcast employee was shit-canned last year. So,
If that actually happened.
I haven't fucked with it.
Which I
Maybe
still don't
should
think
fuck
it
with
did.
to figure it out. King Gogan says, I saw some Reddit posts. Someone claims you can use a packet sniffer and you get the other player's IP address. This is pretty nutty, so I'm not doing it. Forget it. I can never play Fightcade, guys. And again, I don't blame the Fightcade makers. That's not the intention of why they made the client. They made it for posterity, for old school fighting games, to have them be viable, to be played online.
Posterity,
to still
dude.
have vibrant communities. They're not designing their thing to be foolproof from these kind of malicious people. So I'm very glad I didn't put myself in harm's way. And in fact, I'm going to go as far to say this. How much do you want to bet that a lot of the people who have been yelling at me and calling me names and insulting me for a decade, saying that playing it on console was the wrong way to do it, literally were doing that to goad me into using Fightcade so that I would get doxxed? How much do you want to bet they knew that that was the case, and they were just hoping that I'd be stupid enough to one day do it? Right? I guarantee it. Not everyone, of course, but I guarantee you that's the case. So that's what I mean. I got to be very skeptical. When I start hearing people scream at me about certain things, I definitely got to start being more skeptical about it. It just
Yes,
sucks,
just
'cause, man, I was
ignore
crazy about
every
Fightcade. I was literally
opinion
looking forward
and
to tonight,
suggestion
tomorrow night,
from
tomorrow.
your
Because I was
dumbass
like, man, if I
fans.
can get old
Good
school fighters
idea.
in the rotation, that would be so much fun to be able to play. And but no, I'm not allowed to do that. Not me. I'm the one guy who can't do it. Everyone else can, but not Phil. No, it's not for Phil. Right? You know what's sad too? Because Drew Corporation just said something. He said, play it on your own time. Get that itch taken care of. Just for the record, I'm not going to. But sadly, if someone were to ever go on there and impersonate me, they would probably be completely doxxed and destroyed. Like, even if someone went on there, oh, I'm DSP, right? Probably trolls would find them and oh, it might be him, so get his information. And they probably fucking get their IP address and dox them and all kinds of fucked up shit. But I'm not stupid. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way in any way. So, thank you to the Blimp. He did another super chat and he says, we support you, whatever you choose to do. Well, obviously, we're not doing 5K tonight. It's completely off the table. 100% completely off the table. So, what are we doing? I don't know. I mean, we could either do a chill late night stream where we just hang out and talk, or we could do a Game Pass.
You
night or a
always do
combo.
that, though.
Maybe we hang out for
my
half the stream and we go on Game Pass and look at some random games for half the stream. And then tomorrow, I don't know. What do we do tomorrow? Because again, tomorrow night was going to be me playing old school fighters, and now it's off the table. So I don't know. So this guy,
And he ran back to
this
Street
guy's
Fighter
name-
6
listen to
anyway.
This guy's name is One Pump Chump. I'm not making that up. Someone just
So
tipped
funny,
me.
don't you
It was
know?
$31 tip, and their name is One Pump Chump.
Uh-huh.
All right. I can't imagine what that would possibly be a reference to. But thank you very much. Let's get
Me
the
first,
animation again.
maybe.
Again, you're going to see the $30 animation a second time. Keep in mind, there are new ones for $10, $20, and $50 you guys haven't seen yet. But there we go.
More
One
begging,
Pump
why
Chump says
not?
the following. They have something to say. Your VPN concerns are true. There is extra lag. But remember something? Console servers are conceptually doing exactly the same thing. Instead of a console server, it's a VPN server for Fightcade. That's how both work to protect your IP. VPN servers are built for speed. They're significantly faster. Some Fightcade users say it's much better than playing on PlayStation or Xbox because of that. Perhaps it's worth experimenting with just a 1-month membership to something like ExpressVPN that has US servers that you can leverage.
Good idea.
Is it really? I mean, let's think about this realistically.
Oh, you just
Right?
see he doesn't
Is
want to
it
do it.
really
He's
worth it?
already he's already given up. He's already given up. He doesn't want to do it. He's too afraid. So now he's like not going to take the actual advice of someone who just gave him good advice.
To get a membership to a VPN, to then try to get that to work in conjunction with my work PC, to then try to get that to work in conjunction with Fightcade, to then set everything up and try to do these matches and see if there's lag, and if it even works, because what if it doesn't work and then my IP somehow still gets exposed anyway, or what if they DDoS the...
But you're the one who was doing this whole hour-long bitch fest about not being able to fucking participate and Fightcade blah blah blah. Sorry. Like a whiny little fucking bitch. And then it turns out, well, I don't want to have to do it because I have to do this, and it's going to be such a pain in the ass. I'm like, you weren't going to do it in the first place then, if that's the case. You weren't going to actually set it up. Or he was going to do it on stream and try to get paid money to set it up, for, like to have his fans set it up for him, basically.
The IP of the VPN. Doesn't that?
Because that's what he was going to do.
Anyway? In which case, now I have to constantly change my IPs all the time when I try to play Fightcade. Does it really make sense? The answer is no. The answer is, if you could see someone's IP over Fightcade, I can never use it. Period. That's the answer, sadly. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth the stress and the effort. You know? Why wouldn't they be able to DDoS a VPN server? They have the IP address. They could DDoS it. Right? What I see is it's just becoming, it's just a nightmare at this point, right? Instead of it being something fun, oh, we can bring classic fighting games to DSP streams. You can play the games from his youth. You can see him, you know, from when he was at his prime playing those
No
games.
one cares about
Seeing
that,
him
though,
actually
Phil.
play at a high level,
No one
Super Turbo
cares.
and stuff like that in the best version possible. Instead, it's just become this fucking bloated nightmare mess of stress, right? So what's the fucking point at this point? You know? True Corporation says, you should reach out to a VPN company for sponsorship. You're the ideal client for their services with all the crap you get.
That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit. I don't even know who I would like. Who would it be? I like you said, ExpressVPN. I know ExpressVPN does sponsorships, but they usually do sponsorships with giant people. You know, they're not doing They're not doing sponsorships with
Like
people who has,
angry
like,
video
300 people on
game
the street.
nerd.
I don't think they're going to sponsor me. Just being honest. Nor am I even really looking for a sponsorship, right? I'm not. I'm just looking for a way to do things so people can't fuck with me. All right. Any last minute? I know we went really long on this podcast. Any last minute questions or concerns, anybody, before we adjourn? Now that Fightcade's off the table, I guess we're just doing whatever again tonight. Great. That's 2 night stream shot, and I still don't know if we should do Elden Ring or Helldivers 2 tomorrow. I have no idea. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that.
Ugh,
Oh,
gross.
all right, everyone. Well, thank you for the honest podcast. I certainly was not expecting this. Seriously, after all the years of people screaming at me to play Fightcade and telling me I was in the wrong for not doing it and literally outright insulting me and my intelligence for playing console classic fighters, to find out today that it was never viable to begin with and always a huge liability is pretty ironically hilarious to me. So I want to say thank you for being honest on the show, that I didn't make a horrible mistake that wouldn't have, you know, paid off and would have ended up being all screwed up for my business. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And sadly, we can't do Fightcade ever. It's just off the table for now. Sucks ass, right? But it's life, I guess. At least I found out before disaster struck. So, it is what it is. Thank you all. Tonight, I have no clue what we're doing. We're doing a stream.
All right, that's it for that one.